I can get started. Oh,
Okay.
funny. Yeah, I always wondered what those were really like, because they never really talked about Biggest Loser, the reality of it, until you'd actually have one of them that was on it, and then they'd talk about what it was really like, and you're
Mhm.
literally working out all the time, because it's all you're there for, right? You're,
You know,
and a
one
lot
of the
of
guys, there was two brothers, like twins or whatever, that lost weight. They came from Long Island.
Mhm.
And one of the guys, after the show, he put a lot of weight back on. And my trainer was training him. And he said the guy just wasn't listening to him. He told him, if you don't listen, I'm just going to drop you because you're not
yeah.
doing
Well,
it.
you gotta fix this up here to fix all
Yes,
this. So if
Yeah.
you
that's the hard
didn't
part.
work on this while you were eating the lettuce, then this doesn't stay the same. It's just the way it happens. All right, well, let's get into it, because this is the perfect little segue.
Yeah.
So what I wanted to do today, I'm kind of expanding it from what we talked about last week, because we were going to talk about eating and maintenance essentially, and how to know when to eat or when you change your plan and things like that. But I want to take it a step back, because I think a lot of times we come into this health and fitness journey and we're like, I just want to lose weight, or I want to tone and tighten. I want to have abs.
Good one.
Whatever your goal is, right? Everybody's kind of got a generic goal. But what we don't do a lot of is matching up that goal with a specific nutrition plan, right? Because they're losing weight and building muscle are completely different plans. Okay. They're not the same thing. And, we say these kind of buzzwords and we're like, oh, I want to do this or that. But does that really look like what you're willing to live like also? Like when you say, I want a six pack. Well, you're probably going to have to give up some things, because six packs come from being in a low body fat percentage. And that means you're really watching your food. Okay. That doesn't mean you get to have, necessarily the same lifestyle you have right now. And it's totally doable. It's totally possible, right? But it may look different than what you think it looks like. And it's different for each person, because me having abs may look different than Kim having abs. It really depends on where we hold our weight. How, we're like, when you lose weight, where you lose it from, which unfortunately we don't get to decide. And how strict you're willing to be in your nutrition to get to those body fat percentage that works for you to do it. That makes sense?
Mhm.
So let's talk about like your goals, the goal that you want and what that nutrition plan looks like. So feel free to yell out at any time.
Well, I guess I
I'll
have
go
two
first.
goals. My first goal is I just want to get the numbers down. I'm addicted to the scale. So
Okay.
I want those numbers down
Okay.
because, and like I've told you, I have this sticking point that I can't get past. I'm
Right.
on the cusp today, so I don't know. But in the long run, I want to look like a bodybuilder.
Okay. Yeah. See, now
Is it-
that's important, right? Because you don't just
Yes,
want to lose weight. You want to look athletic, and you want to look like you have
I
muscle.
want the definition in the muscles.
Yeah.
What happened about 10 years ago when I got a personal trainer, we had met him. He was in a little bodybuilding contest at the local beach. And I met him and we just talked to him. And then 6 months later, he wound up working in my gym and he would win. He was like 80 years old and he would win his age group. So I told him, I want you to train me. And I wanted to do that bodybuilding show the next year. And he got me down 40 pounds. I had 4 pounds left to go and life got in the way and it all came back. But
Yeah.
it was like I was on cloud nine because I would sit there and feel my shoulder or look in the mirror and I could see the teardrop. And it's like, I want that.
Right. So let's talk about that in two different things. So losing weight means you're in a calorie deficit. You don't have to have exercise to lose weight. It's all about taking mass off. And so you can lose weight and still be like what people call skinny fat, right? Where you don't have a lot of muscle tone, you're not necessarily fit, but you are at a lower weight. Now, building muscle, getting the muscle underneath to be there requires heavy weights and eating in excess to actually gain muscle. Now we're talking about gaining muscle, like literally adding mass on, requires eating in a surplus. To strengthen muscle, you can eat in maintenance. You can eat in a calorie deficit. It depends on how you're eating in the calorie deficit, if you'll maintain the muscle. It's harder for women. I'm learning in the Roar book. She goes into great detail about some of the things that make it a little harder for us to hold on to muscle and to build muscle. So strengthening the muscle is probably best done in maintenance. So you're not necessarily losing weight, but you're changing your body shape because your body is putting that energy toward the muscle and it's getting rid of those fat stores because it doesn't need it in maintenance, right? It feels secure, it can let things go. So it's when people are doing shows like that, they tend to eat in surplus to build the muscle. And then they go through a shred phase where they eat a lot of protein so the body hopefully doesn't eat the muscle you've just gained as they're shredding the fat away from their body. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of are doing it in phases, right? You're building, there's the bulk phase that they go through and they're building muscle and you're working on everything. And then you go through the shred phase for the show only. You don't keep that low weight for good.
Mm-hmm.
Because after the show, you start coming back up again and you're either in a kind of a phase where you're just chill on things, but you're still doing it, or you're back into a more bulk build phase before the next show. So what you can do, like I have found to still shape your body and lose weight at the same time, you're eating really good foods in a lower bracket than maintenance, or you're eating in maintenance. It really depends on how close you are to where you want to be. That makes sense.
Didn't you say last week that that the proximity of closeness to your goal is if you're 10 pounds and under, it would be best to eat in maintenance? Is that correct?
Yeah, the closer you get to the goal, the slimmer you make the calorie deficit. That makes sense. So your calorie deficit gets much smaller as you get closer to where you want to be. Now, the other piece to that is I would ask you, where does this number come from that you're trying to hit? Because that's another thing. Like I thought for sure I was going to be like my best self at 138 pounds. And I am 162 right now ish. I don't know. I haven't weighed myself in a month, but that's generally where I sit, right around 162. That is not 138. I am totally happy with my body.
How tall are you? Because you don't look that.
I'm like 5'7", 5'8".
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you know, it's one of those things where it's like, how did I even come to 138? I honestly don't know. I have no idea where that number came from.
I think it's society.
Hey, what'd you say?
I think it's society.
Yeah. And if you ever looked at some weird chart, right, that said, oh, this BMI is in this thing, which BMIs are shit. So.
Yeah. How do we pick that goal weight?
You know, I think it goes off how you feel. I think the more you focus on good food, moving in a direction you want to go, you'll figure it out. Like you'll be like, hey, I literally like about a year or two ago, I was like, you know what? I'm pretty happy with this body. Like, why am I always trying to get smaller? And even this year, I've had a lot of conversation with myself, like, why am I trying to get smaller all the time? I feel like I'm on this hamster wheel. When I look in the mirror and I'm like, all right, I'm digging it. This is cool. Yeah. But society keeps telling you kind of have to keep, working at it. Like you have to keep trying to be smaller, and I'm kind of over it.
Well, when you started, what did you weigh and what were you looking to be?
I was 148, my first before picture. And Kathy, I'll send you my before picture and a recent picture, because I had no muscle, even though I was going to a gym. I had no muscle. And I just have a lot more muscle now, but I don't equate that to I have put on weight. Like you can still have muscle and be less weight, right? Like I don't equate my 15 pounds to being muscle. But I was like 148 when I started. I got down to the lowest I've ever gotten down was 141, and it was before Beachbody. But I had just lost 45 pounds. We were moving to a different state. I was trying to sell a house. I had 2 toddlers, and I was freaking out. Like, I was so stressed out, and that's the lowest weight I had ever been. And I think I had a size 4 jean.
Wow.
And you know what I mean? But like, I was so unhealthy.
You had 2 toddlers and were in a size 4.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I was so like, didn't sleep right, didn't feel right. And it's like, I think about like, we all talk about some of the issues we have or how we're feeling. And I am more energized now, just in general, because I'm eating good, I'm eating like foods that like are happy with my body, and I'm not trying to like restrict it. And I really gotten good at not eating when I'm not hungry. Not eating out of boredom, not eating out of emotion.
Oh, okay.
Those are big things that have been a journey, right? That's all a journey.
Mhm.
So and it was funny because like all the time, and if you're in any of these other groups, people will be like, the scale's just not moving. But a lot of times they're eating way too few calories. And it works for a little bit. Like, so if you should be eating 1,600, 1,800, but you're eating 1,200, that's one of those things where it'll work for a little bit. But then your body's like, whoa, hey, you're not giving me enough food. So I'm going to hang on to the things you are giving me because we are in survival. And you have to think about your body like that. It's trying to keep you alive. That's why as you get closer to your goal weight or the weight you think you want to be, right? Which may not be the weight your body wants to be, FYI. Just it might be lower than what your body wants to be. It can fight it, right? Because it's like, I don't want to run out of food. I'm trying to keep you alive. I need to keep you going. So if you're going to give me less and less and less, then we got to hold on to everything we've got. See, I'm in on the soapbox again. You guys have to put your hands up and be like, Deanna, shut it.
Well,
So
I think
I have a,
not good for a movie. You can watch it
oh,
yourself.
is somebody else going?
Okay.
No, I don't know. I think it may have
Somebody's
been
talking.
Okay.
Okay, so
no, I
I
know.
Oh,
think
you're supposed to
mine,
say.
That's
I
so
think-
weird. Here, I'll mute everybody, Kelly, and you unmute.
So
okay,
all day I've had
Did you?
no.
okay,
Well, I'm muted.
okay. So everything that you're saying makes me think, mine comes down to, yes, I have a goal in my head, but I think it's a confidence issue mostly for me. And I need those last 8 or 10 pounds gone. And I know that is because of society, because somebody said that, like a doctor said, oh, you need to weigh like anywhere from 125 to 145. So when I get in that bracket that I'm over 145, it's immediate, like, oh my God, something's wrong with you, Kelly. If I'm like 146, it gets in my head. So the other thing too is in my head, when I look at myself, I see me being fat. But when somebody else looks at me, like my parents or a sibling, a friend, a coworker, my boyfriend, he tells me all the time, he's like, you're not fat. I don't understand why you say that. So the other day he caught me by surprise and took a picture of me in my jeans and sent it to me. And he's like, I like how you look. And I looked at it. I was like, I don't look fat in camera, but when I look in the mirror, I see myself big. Like right now, I can see myself talking. I'm like, I feel like I'm just huge, and it might not be the best angle, and I'm not wearing the best, outfit right now, but I feel like it's all here. Like I'm making myself crazy thinking that I need to be a certain shape and size, where really I'm probably just okay.
You 100% are okay. Like hands down, right? We are all, it doesn't even matter what size you are, and you're right. It is in our head. And it's hard because it's like you see whatever you're following or whatever you're seeing in your life and you think I should be like that. I should do this.
Mhm.
I should this, right?
Yeah.
But that's not really how things need to be. Because you really, once you accept who you are, everything gets a lot better. Everything feels better. You can have joy in the things you're doing instead of feeling like you're constantly not enough or not doing what you should be doing, right? Like, I always feel bad when people are like, oh, I just had a cupcake. There's another hour on the treadmill. No. They are totally separate things, and you have the cupcake and you enjoy it, and you know what I mean? You don't have to punish yourself
Yeah.
for having something you enjoy. And when you
I've
kind of
struggled
let go
with
of
the
that
same
burden,
thing.
yeah,
I've struggled with the same thing, Kelly. I'm just like,
Yeah.
ugh. And the one thing that I have done is focused on my controllables and looked at like the little victories. So I like lifted today and realized that I lifted heavier than I did the last time I did the program. And that to me was a massive victory because the scale is a liar. Like that thing lies constantly.
it
Like,
is.
I don't know, that's just rude. So
Yeah.
I look at what I've done and I'm like, that's amazing. Like couldn't have done that like 7 weeks ago or whatever. And that's been helpful. And like anytime I have those negative thoughts, I just try to reframe it and be like, what have I done that's been positive to get me to my goal? And I ask myself that a lot.
Yeah.
Some
Yeah.
days it's nothing, in full disclosure. Some days it's like
Yeah.
I ate cupcakes and that's what I did. And you know what? So what?
And
Tomorrow's
that's you
different,
needed
or
to
the next
survive
one.
that day, right? And that's okay because there's so many ways. Like I was actually so in this book Roar, which if you like sciencey, it's really technical. But she talks about that like the week before your period during that PMS part, you mentally are just not in the best space. You know what I mean? And you may not want to work out. And that it's part of what's happening in your body. It's not that you're failing. It's not that things are going wrong. And it's not that you're not doing good enough. Our body is going through some massive changes just trying to procreate the universe, right? Like, and we get to deal with it all. But it's one of those things where when you kind of acknowledge like, okay, today wasn't the day. Tomorrow's gonna be a better day. And you just kind of move on and let it go.
And I know stress plays a huge factor in all of this too. And I know y'all know I'm stressed out right now to the max. Just work is crazy right now. And so my body's going to do whatever it wants to do. And I might have mentioned that, and it still hasn't gone away. I have a rash on my neck. I'm actually seeing the doctor tomorrow because I just want to scratch the heck out of it right now. But again, it's my body's going to do what it wants to. Also too, talking about being on your cycle, mine came later this month because I am stressed. I mean, for a split second, and who needs the extra stress? I know we're all kind of family here, girls, but for, a couple of days, I was like, you know what? I might actually be pregnant.
Right.
So then you start freaking out about that too. Like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? But I mean, yeah, but no, it was stress related. It finally came, but I'm just like, all of that just impacts my mindset.
Yeah.
So,
well, it does.
Yeah.
The stress impacts how your body feels too. It is on a heightened state of alert all the time because it's like, what the heck is happening, right? It feels like it's got to be doing everything, and it's a really hard time to try to make a change. So you really have to get to something that helps you relieve some of it.
Yeah.
So that you can just feel good and focus. Like I wouldn't worry anything about like how great was my workout. I'd be like, did I move? Did I have whole foods today? And have I had some quiet time or something that helps you take that break?
Yeah.
Because you're in a survival piece right now, right? You're in a situation where you just need to do the best you can to get through the situation and the time.
And I'm able to still maintain my workouts. I had to shift when I work out slightly. Yeah. A little bit earlier than what I was doing. And that's kind of my me time. However, my sleep has kind of suffered a little bit, but I'm still trying to adjust. And I know it's going to be day by day, week by week.
Yeah.
But I can tell you the eating is probably not at its best right now. And I think it's just because I'm just trying to, like you said, survive, and I'm trying to pick healthy options. I'm not trying to buy things that are bad. But the thing that I'm probably not doing, and if I'm wanting to lose that 8 pounds or 10 pounds, is I'm definitely probably not even eating enough. It's not eating
Right.
too much, or I'm eating too much of a certain kind of food, which is still not giving me the nutrients I need. So I know I'm all imbalanced and everything. I'm a hot mess.
Well, and
Somebody fix me.
we talked about in the gut health too, where like if you're eating nutritious foods that your good bacteria want, then that helps your body create more serotonin, helps nutrients be absorbed, helps everything work better. So it really is like getting in as many good foods as you can, whole foods, carrying apples with you, carrying, bags of snap peas or whatever, right? Just carry around some things to crunch on, and so that you have those things to help as you're, going through it all. But
I
you're
have to say,
doing,
Kelly,
yeah, you're doing amazing anyway. So don't.
I know. Well, at least I know work is right here still in front of me. And I was like, you know what? Because I missed like a whole month of like nutrition calls with y'all. So last week I finally said, it's enough. I'm just going to do it. And I did it, and I'm doing it today. So I have to find the time. Otherwise, if I keep
Welcome back.
making excuses that I'm too busy because work is priority versus me, then I'm not going to get any better. So I'm here. So y'all know all about my craziness.
I have to tell you, Kelly, when I go to the doctor, they tell me that I'm in the obese section of because of my weight.
Really?
And yeah, which is bizarre because I'm 5'9" and I weigh between 152 and 155. But I lift weights, and I just tell them go jump off a cliff, because I'm not gonna get down to 142, or which is where they want me, which is just way too.
Yeah, you
it's
look
too
great.
skinny and too
Show them
restrictive.
the picture of Joel looking at grabs.
Yeah. So it's for me, it's a guideline. I don't look at the scale anymore. I will never be what I weighed in high school ever again, just because I've lived life and I've had 2 kids, and my goals are different. Back in high school, I wanted to be skinny and flabby, and I didn't, I just wanted to be skinny. Now I would much rather be healthy and fit and have muscle than be a certain size.
Yeah.
And I quit trying to buy size small just because it's size small. It's all a mindset. It's all, for growing up, I don't know about you guys, but we were always, everything we were shown, oh, look at that tiny little girl. Look at that small little, no, she's wearing small. I will never fit in a size 0 or a size 2 ever. And that's okay, because I'm healthy and I'm fit and I enjoy my muscles, and, but you have to be okay with it, and you have to know your own worth and tell your doctor that, sorry, this is what I'm going to weigh. I'm healthy and I have my muscles.
Does the
and I
doctor
get my
know
exercise
that
in that you want.
you're exercising and lifting weight? Doesn't he make,
The problem is that the charts are old and antiquated, and they don't take into a lot of consideration the fact that you might be muscular, and they just look at a number, and this is the number that you should be or shouldn't be. So, and I just don't fit in that. So
yeah.
And a lot of it now is they have to meet guidelines and check all these boxes for their patients. That's what a lot of it is. And if they don't check their boxes for their patients, they get hit on the back end. I've been in primary care, so I know all their stupid things. It's stupid.
It really is. I mean, like every year
It's not about the patient.
and they actually do our waist size to see if we are.
That's what this was like. I woke up and I was beat the hell.
What?
Was it just you and
What
Blake
about
there?
that background noise?
I don't know where the background noise is.
It's on Joy
Oh, is it on Joy's?
because
It
her
could be-
box is lighting up.
Her box.
Yeah.
Probably my
Box is
TV.
moving. But it's funny how like yeah you have these like it's all like they take our waist size, right? But they have all of my blood work, and my waist size is apparently still in the safe zone. But it's what I mean. It's one of those things where my blood work is what tells how I'm doing.
Mhm.
And you can see over time how you're doing. But it's one of those things where they have like these quick measures, and then now our insurance company uses that to be like, if you are or aren't in good health, it's just silly.
And my blood work is great, but I'm overweight. I can't get rid of the fat. But you would never know it
Comes
looking at
with
my
time.
blood work.
It's all, I think the more you take your eyes off the scale in a way of knowing if you're doing the things you should do, and focus on, did I do the things I should do, right? Like, is my food the best my food can be? Can I keep, and you just kind of keep modifying, and you're also looking, is this how I want to live?
Mhm.
Because maybe maybe you've gone through a calorie deficit, but that's not how you want to sustain. Or maybe you dropped alcohol for a month, but that's not how you want to go long term. So you really have to think about, what weight can I be happy with? Plus, how can I live my life and enjoy the things I want to enjoy? And where do those two things meet?
Mhm.
You bring up the blood work, and that's like a huge win for me, but I don't ever think about that, or lifting heavier weights. I don't think about that stuff, but I went like probably not even a month ago to get my blood work done. I haven't had it done like in a couple of years. It was the best it's ever been. I don't know if they did it today, completely different story, but I mean, yeah, the numbers were excellent. And I was like, that's pretty good. Yeah, it's something to be proud of. But we don't think, that's the stuff that we don't think about. We think about the scale. And when I today
You
got
don't
on the
see it.
scale, it said 150.5. And I was like, no, Kelly, you can't be over 150. You got to get back into that 145, 149. And so it gets in my head. Yeah.
It totally does. And I mean, I wish I could give you like whatever magic dust it requires to like kind of revert your thinking, but it is one of those, I mean, I still fight it all the time, right? You're still like, if I buy a size 10 jeans, well, they fit. And I'm like, I have to have that conversation. Like, what does it really matter? What size are in my clothes? If they fit me and I feel good in it and I look good in it, then why does it matter what that number is? You know what I mean? And that's the hard part, because it's like we all get so caught up on whatever this number is. And I think I still have some 6s in my closet. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I have no plans to visit them again.
And every company is different. I could wear a 10 in one company and a 2 in another and a 14 in another. So they're not standard anyway.
And those more expensive jeans, I'm always a size lower. So that's the hook, right? They're like, just size those babies up so that they want to buy these because they're lower. They know women.
Yep.
They know how to get us to buy stuff.
Like if you did wear a 2, you'd probably wear the label on the outside. So everybody would know.
Just have a big 2 on it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But it's one of those things that we absolutely have to kind of reconcile.
Yeah.
And, realize, like, it was funny. We were moving rocks the other day in our backyard, and I'm doing it, right? And my husband is sweaty and dying, and I'm like, and he just looks at me, he's like, okay, Miss In Shape, right? Like, I'm like, I got this, right? Get out my way. We're going to get this done today. And that feels good, because I know I'm so much more capable of physical things than I ever have been.
Mhm.
You can carry all those grocery bags in one trip. I mean, whatever it is, whatever signifies that you're moving forward and doing well.
I'm kind of glad too that we're talking about weight, because honestly, and I'm glad everybody's kind of throwing their number out there just to kind of, have a gauge. But like, for instance, if we were like, what was it at the carnival, and that person would guess your weight, the numbers that I'm hearing anywhere from 140 to 150 and stuff, I would have never guessed that. I mean, I would have been like 130, 135. I mean, it would have been a lot lower. So that's the other thing in our head too, that we're already kind of like, us women, we tend to gauge other women, like, wonder how much she weighs, what size is she? Because that's just, I guess that's kind of our nature, right? So I kind of actually feel better that we're talking about it, because my number's not bad.
No.
It really, I mean, and in my head it was.
How tall are you, Kelly?
I'm almost 5'5".
Okay.
Where I carry my weight is in my belly. It's all in my belly. I didn't have any kids. And I am a smaller frame as far as bones, but I mean, talking about what size do I wear, I'm a size 4. That's not a big size.
Nope, it's not.
So I've got some 6s. Talk about size 2. Yeah, turn that dress inside out so somebody can see that size 2. But I have a few dresses. I haven't put them on lately. I wonder if they still fit. That'll kind of gauge. But yeah, I mean, I don't know why. I think because I used to be big. I'll be honest with y'all. My highest weight, 25, 26 years old, right out of, college a few years, I weighed 219 pounds. And I think she lives here.
Yeah.
She lives in my head. And she hasn't gone away. She
Well, I
hasn't
think
gone
that's
away.
the thing, though.
Well, it's like I was always 110, so she's in my head. I'm only 4'10". I'm little. So like my highest was 182, and that wasn't when I was pregnant. But I got down, today I was 140. I've been trying to get under 140 for 2 or 3 years. It goes from 140 to 145. And once it hits 140, it goes back up. It does not want to go down, and my husband keeps saying, you can't get to 110 again. You can't do that. It's unrealistic. I did get to 114 with the trainer 10 years ago. I'll take 120. Hey, at this point, I'll take 139, but I can't get there.
Well,
I think that's the thing, is we're all kind of living in a vacuum of ourselves, right? Like, I remember a couple years ago, right after my husband and I got married, I had been doing 21 Day Fix, like almost on a loop. And I love it. It's a great program and it's, fantastic. And when I got back, I decided I was going to go work out with a personal trainer to do CrossFit. And I showed up the first day. I thought I was going to die. I mean, let's just be honest. Those high interval intensity training are no joke, but I did it. And she was actually really impressed with how strong I was. And I was like, I don't think I'm that strong. And the reality was, the reason I didn't is because I've been lifting by myself in front of a television with like a group of trainers, seeing them, and they don't really tell you what weight in 21 Day Fix, what weight everybody is.
They should. I'm glad they do now.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, at first I was like, I wonder if they're doing it because they don't want people to try to keep up or whatever. Well, anyways, long story short, as a result of working with that trainer, and she's like, you're really strong. Like, what were you doing before this? I was like, oh, I've been doing these Beachbody programs. And she's like, wow, she was really impressed. And so that really showed me that because we're by ourselves working out with this program, we don't have anything to compare to other people. Not that we do compare, like that's like part of it, but we don't have a scale, and we can't it's difficult for us to have a real sense of like, where are other people? Like, we don't have, like, there's no comparison. So we're just kind of like on this island. And when we see what we're doing or what we're not doing on the scale, we're like, well, this is bullshit. And so I think that's kind of the problem. And so that's why these conversations are so great, because, it's this like judgment-free zone of us just being like, we don't know what we're doing. And I feel so bad. And I've got this like itty bitty shitty committee in my head that's telling me I'm not doing enough and I need to do more. And, I don't know, maybe a couple times a day, we just have to dismiss them because they don't deserve to live rent free in our head. I mean, we're exactly as God intended us to be, and we'll get better as long as we continue to show up. So.
Amen. That was
Very
Yep.
good.
Yeah,
Woo! All right, we'll let Mariana run this from here on out.
I will say for in regards to the scale, I do like Alana's approach for using the scale as a tool, of using it if you are going to weigh in, but you have to have the right mindset with it though. You have to use it as a tool and say, okay, I'm going to eat this salty chip, whatever it is that makes you retain water or makes your number bump up or something like that. For me, it's alcohol. If I drink alcohol, my number is going to go up automatically. Or if I eat salty foods, or if I eat heavy carbs, my number just goes up. But I have to be okay with that. And when I get on the scale the next morning, I have to realize that the number is probably going to be higher or it's going to be at the same. And then the next day, it's probably going to be the same. And 3 days later, it'll be dropped down again, if as long as I go back to my, where I should be eating. But as long as I know that I'm using it as a tool and I don't let it get in my head of, oh my God, I'm sucking right now. I just, I gained 2 pounds or I gained 5 pounds, and it's, Shark Week and everything else, that's stress and all the other stuff that's going on that makes you gain weight. As long as you can use it as a tool, I think it's a good tool, but you have to change your mindset for sure.
Yeah,
I had to do that
as
for my
long as
birthday.
you know what you did to cause it, that helps. Because like sometimes I'll think at least that I'm following it really good and I'm gaining and I have no idea why. When you know, it helps, I think.
Yeah, I had to prep myself for my birthday weekend. I had to be prepared that after my birthday weekend that the scale was probably going to go up. And I was mindful of that the entire weekend. I still had a blast and ate cake and had all the good things, but I was prepared for that. And it did take a level of like mental gymnastics for me to be like, this is fine. This is not a big deal. I'm enjoying myself. This is okay. Like, it's like your inner preschool child. You have to be like, it's fine. Everything is okay. Like, handle yourself with kid gloves, which I definitely had to learn to do in this process.
You do. You have to talk like you are talking to someone else, not yourself.
Yes.
Like if you can say that to your friend, then don't say it to yourself.
Yeah.
And that's a tough one because we are always talking to ourselves all day long. And then you'll get down these rabbit holes and you're like, whoa, where did it? I mean, whew.
Oh yeah.
How did
I think
I
you can all
end
go
up
from
here?
0 to crazy in like,
Yeah.
not even 4 seconds flat. So
exactly.
Yeah.
I really liked it this week when Sean T, I forgot which call we were on, some of us were on, where he was like, so, I'm walking to the scale and I have a 50-50 chance of being happy or sad, depending on, when I step on it. And he's like, what's with that? Like, why are we doing that? So.
I loved that part. I wish I would have recorded it because that was so, like, I always determined if it was a good or a bad day on the scale.
Right. And, when I think of Sean T, I would never have thought that the scale, like I would have thought he wouldn't care. Like he
was overweight at one point. So he is also dealing with that previously larger.
He has that college person in his head, just like a lot of us have, where he was overweight at that time and still goes back there.
Yeah, he was good on that call.
So good.
Oh, he was awesome.
Yeah, and I mean, look at these women on that dance program just killing it. It doesn't even matter what size they are. They are killing every dance move, right? It doesn't matter if they're the 2 or the 16. Killing it. That's the important part.
I love their everybody's wearing crop tops. Like, they made a big deal for Kat in 21 Day Fix. Oh, look, I'm wearing a mesh top, but nobody said anything. Like, you don't have to point that out because it's cool, like I just really like that they didn't point out like, hey, look, she's wearing a sports bra.
Right. Like, oh my gosh, she's got a crop top on. You can see her belly.
Right. Yeah, it was awesome that they didn't do that,
Exactly. Because it's unimportant. It is unimportant.
I didn't understand why they did that.
with
Why
I
Kat.
thought it was weird.
It was because I think it was because Kat was so self-conscious about it, and so they were kind of trying to cheer her on. Is how I took it. Is that she was really worried about, and that so she did like mesh one day, and then I think she did a crop. So I think it was just because she was so concerned.
Yeah.
She commented on it in 9-week Control Freak. Kat has, where she's talked about like what she's wearing.
Yeah.
And so
She commented a lot in 9-week Control Freak.
can you take a second out, because I like in the beginning of the program I was like, can she just stop talking? And now
Autumn's favorite. Let's just
yeah, I know, she just wouldn't stop, and then finally like halfway through the program I'm just like, I think she just broke me, because I finally was just like, fine, Kat, just go ahead.
I used to talk back at her.
Yeah, I know.
But I thought at first I thought it was just me. I was like, maybe I'm just being really insensitive, but it like wore me down.
Yeah, Jen, Arius, and I would text back and forth like, oh boy, here it goes again.
He just doesn't quit. And you know, poor Jose in the background, like half the time you don't even know he's there. Like,
oh, all right. We'll bring it back around to nutrition here. So in talking, I know we went way off the thing, but it was still kind of in there. So in talking about like the goal you have, this is a perfect time to really think about what you want your life to look like and what you want your body to look like. And do those things mix with your nutrition plan? And what does that mean in changing your nutrition plan? Right? So that's kind of where we're at with things and how you decide. It was really interesting too. I know I keep going back to this Roar book, but it's all in my head right now. She talked about actually the week you're having your period is your strongest time to lift weights, is your time to build muscle. You are most compatible with like a male body in that week, so that you can actually put on muscle and do things. And a lot of athletes have been fearful of having like a race during their menstruation, but it's actually a really great time. The week before, crap, total crap. That's when you're like struggling through workouts, nothing's going right, world's ending. But the week of, you can like, so get it. So if you're in the week, see if you can do some heavier weights, go after it.
Wow.
Never knew that.
Wish
I
knew
didn't
that back
either.
then.
This book is fascinating. It
Wish I
really
knew that back then.
All right. So is there any other, like, what do you want to have any other discussion about like a certain goal and what that looks like in a nutrition plan, or kind
All
of?
right, so if my first goal is to lose weight, I need to lose something before I can concentrate on the next goal. So
Right.
to lose the weight, it's eating in a calorie deficit.
It is. Now the calorie deficit shouldn't be more than 750 calories.
'Cause when I do their formula, I come out in the first one, so I can't eat any less than that.
Right.
So I guess that is a deficit. for
Yep.
me.
And so then your next goal, so you've got the meal plan, you know, your containers. Your next goal within that is to eat at the top of the food list. So, and she probably includes that in the book too. So
Okay,
the food
yeah.
list, the top is your most nutritious, best option for that food group.
Mhm.
how top? Is it like top 10, top 5?
Top
You know,
third.
yeah, top
Top
third is, yeah, middle third is like your okay. Last third is like the things you don't want to do. You want to do them once in a while. They're your sometimes foods.
Here's a question for you. How many carbs, what's the grams of carbs in a yellow container?
So I keep seeing this chart floating around and it top ended, I think, around 30. So I think it was like between 20 and 30 grams. Calorie wise, it's like 90 to 130 is what I've seen on this thing. Someone's trying to calculate Autumn's plan. And it seems to be pretty close to how things are figured. And like,
Because I was eating a
Yeah.
protein muffin and it looks like it'll fit in the yellow container, like physically fit, right? And at first I was like, oh, that's fantastic. 3 of these is 150 calories. Then I read the label and it was actually 1 was 150 calories and I felt offended. And then I looked at the carbs and I was like, does this fit the yellow? And I was like, I'll hold that question for Thursday. So I'll have to go check, but I think it does.
And feel free to, if you have a label, feel free to just stick it in the group too, and we can talk about it. So because like it might be, if it's 150, it might be like a part red, full yellow, part of a teaspoon. It kind of depends on what the other makeup is to make
Okay.
up those extra calories. Generally over 130 is where people are going to that second yellow.
Okay, yeah, it's they're 150. I think they're 150 per. Yeah, so it's 10 grams of fat, 55 grams of carbs, 35 grams of protein.
So that's for sure 2 yellows.
Yeah, it's 160 calories a muffin. Oh, excuse me. Hold on. Wait. That was the entire container.
Oh, okay.
160 calories per muffin, 18 grams of carbs, 1 gram dietary fiber, 14 grams of sugar, and total, or the protein was 12 grams.
Okay, but that's individual or total?
Just one little muffin. One small muffin.
Okay, so it's probably like a yellow and a half red from what I heard there. And then the fat was what for one muffin?
One muffin was the fat, the fat was 3.5 grams total fat.
You're probably good with doing like a half a red plus a yellow.
Okay, yeah, I've been counting it just as a yellow. And I've been eating it slowly. I'll put a picture up in the group so you guys can have a fair representation of how small this muffin is. Good, but it is small, and I eat it slowly to enjoy every ounce of it.
Well, and that's the thing too, like when you're eating whole foods, like the food list, you know, the tops of the list are things that are least processed too, and you get to eat a larger volume of foods when you're eating the whole food versus having something that's pre-made, processed. And you know, it's partly why Autumn really stays away from that, and Alana does too. I mean, she adds more processed things in because I think she also is more of like quick on the go foods versus Autumn. But it's, you know, you just have to kind of weigh that too. Like, are you a volume eater? So if you're always eating these things that are already pre-made, then you're not getting the volume you may like to have, and then therefore overeating. But if you're a volume eater, then go for those things that have a lot of volume so that you can still feel content with what you're getting.
Right. Speaking of volume, I have a question.
Yeah.
So I was doing clean week last week, and I was making oats, and I used the box which said a quarter cup was a serving. And then after I cooked it, I read that it was a quarter cup of cooked oats. And then I had like 3 times that many in my bowl. And I was like, I know the answer, which one's right, but why isn't it a quarter cup uncooked?
Well, a quarter cup cooked is not a full yellow.
Okay.
So, it like when I measure with a yellow on my steel cut oats, that's already cooked, and that's a half a cup. And
okay, half a cup.
Yeah, so, and people say, like, I think you can use a blue and then you use a yellow, or how did it go? People have like a system where they'll use like a blue dry and a yellow water, and that makes a yellow serving or something like that. It's like,
I mean, it's also use a Shakeology
serving.
Oh yeah, Shakeology scooper. So a quarter dry is a serving.
A quarter what?
A quarter cup dry equals a half a yellow, or equals a half cup.
It does? Okay.
Because it'll double.
Yeah, which is the same thing as a Shakeology scoop of dry. That's how I do it.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
It wasn't that bad. It wasn't.
No.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So I'm with my book here. And looking at, because I haven't done the containers in forever, probably not since I did 80-day obsession. So that's been 3 years ago. So otherwise I've been just kind of probably closely, well, not these days, but probably a month or two ago, I was probably doing more of the to be mindset. But if I was to start doing the containers, and we were talking about maintenance, so I know I can do the calculation and everything, but I recall that I felt like I could never eat all the food that I needed to eat, that was on the number of containers and stuff, because I'm looking like at portion plan B and C, and they might vary, but I mean, that is a lot of food for me.
So you might not be eating enough. But now if
I think that's the problem.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
and let's say you've been eating in A for a long time, and that's kind of what you're used to, but you would like to go to a maintenance level, which could be a B, C, or D, where probably a B or a C if you're in A.
Yeah.
But so let's say you're at a low level of food and you want to bump up. I would go a bracket at a time. So you would go to B and be there for 2 to 3 weeks and let your body adjust and let your body, burn it up, get the metabolism going. And then depending on how B feels for you, right? Because if you, depending on if that's where you want to be, you can either bump it up or stay in B, but that's like the tweener between a full weight loss and a maintenance. I tend to eat toward B. C's my maintenance, but I tend to eat toward B because I know I actually grab a few more things in between. So it's like B's kind of my like where I schedule my meals. And then when the bag of chips are sitting next to the refrigerator and I have a handful, I get it, right? Like I still am in that maintenance range. But on the days I actually like am full on in the plan, next morning I am hungry and like things are feeling slimmed down. So it is like B is still a weight loss area.
Okay.
That's just kind of how I manage it in my mind, right? Like I think you have to figure out kind of how you want to manage things. I don't like to track, and I tend to like have a few.
Yeah, and I don't either, but I know right now I'm not getting enough of probably greens. I know that I need more protein. I try to stay away from the carbs, but the carbs are probably, when I do eat them, that's what's getting me through the day too, because I need the energy. So I probably need to consider tracking, because I have a crap load of containers and they probably need, even the newer ones, they need to be open. So I probably need to use them.
Does everybody in Beachbody use the container method?
No. So 2B Mindset is the alternate nutrition plan provided within the Beachbody nutrition plans. And that does not use containers. It's just a percentage of what's on your plate. It's called a plate it method.
Okay.
And it is, it's more geared low carb, and it's a little lower in protein. A lot of us eat more containers because a lot of us are lifting. And I personally feel like UPF is a better plan if you want to look more athletic and build muscle, because you're getting the macro plan. Versus 2B Mindset, you're a little more intuitive eating, and it can be great for losing weight and slimming down. But if your goal is to build muscle, then you may have to modify it a little bit to make that happen, or just to maintain your muscle.
I noticed when I'm doing the Shailene Extreme, her book, she doesn't do containers or to be mindset.
She was way before Autumn. So Shailene Extreme is like one of the original. So we didn't even have Autumn yet when that was out.
So Autumn brought this container stuff.
Yeah,
here.
it was her system that she brought into.
What year did she come?
Oh, Bev, do you know that answer? Is it 2015 when 21 Day Fix came out?
I think it was 14.
I think it was 14
Oh,
too.
it's that new. Oh.
Yeah. He
Well,
was
that's
actually
6 or 7 years ago.
privately and peddling the containers, like peddling them out of like her, like the trunk of her car, but she was using a container system with her
containers.
Yeah, she's like, hey, containers for you and you. But she was using them with her private clients, and a client of hers, I think it was like a brother or friend, was connected to Beachbody and showed them to Carl and was like, oh, and then they made the meeting and it went from there. Which may be in her book. Kelly.
Yeah, there's something like that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Have any of you coaches met any of these people?
Yeah.
Like, oh, you have?
Yep. They come to, so quarterly we have like what's called a Super Saturday, and a lot of cities around the country get either a trainer or Carl or Isabel Deichler or one of the other higher up executives at Beachbody. And like Lily and I are close enough that we usually go to the same weekend. So we've had pictures taken with all the trainers. When you're on the Success Club trips, that's a coach reward. All the trainers are there on the trip, and they have workout sessions for you, and you see them at the pool. Like I saw Autumn and Joel getting their French fries with the rest of us in their bikinis and
Oh, really?
around. It was fantastic.
Wow.
And sometimes they do other fitness events. Like I saw the last event I went to was last February. I saw Carl and Autumn and Joel at like the Richmond Women's Festival of Health or something like that.
Wow.
And that was fun. That was the last thing. Everybody was checking their temperatures.
Yeah. And
I
like
forgot-
he has his own company to do events in different cities.
Yeah,
So
I saw
how many
Shanti
of
the year
you were
before there.
coaches? How many of you were
Quite a
coaches?
few of us.
Kim, Beverly, Lily, Mariana?
How many, what?
How
Coaches.
many are
Robin.
coaches?
And so Kathy, some people
Robin?
too are coaches that are discount coaches. So they're getting
Yeah.
the same benefits as coaching, but they're not necessarily coaching people. So you still get to have the benefit of the coach discount, but you don't have to like coach someone. That
Oh.
next month that becomes a preferred customer. Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's a good one with Amala.
Yeah, who's in that picture?
That's Lily and Amwala Cesar. He is
Oh, wow.
one of our new trainers.
Lily, you
Yes,
look
the program
great.
coming out in
The
July.
doctor is wrong, Lily. You look great.
Oh yeah, there's Joel pointing at her abs. That one was hilarious.
Okay. Wow.
I got to witness all those live.
I got to get
fun.
Insanity certified by Shanti
Oh,
in a private, like in a Gold's Gym. So there was probably only, I don't know, 30 of us maybe. And that was really amazing because I had tried to talk to him back in 2010 at Summit and wasn't able to. And so, yeah, I got to actually talk to him and he's so nice. Like people, I actually had somebody say to me in reference to the way that he kind of is in the sample workout of Let's Get Up. They're like, he's a little over the top. It's just a little too much for me because I don't buy that that's who he is. I'm like, oh no, that's who he is.
Yeah. Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
like, you,
watch anything.
there's nothing to buy here.
Yeah,
That's him. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
I
All
actually
right,
I had a question.
That is totally him.
Who just talked?
We're losing Lily. She's kind of freezing.
Lily's cutting out. Yeah. I had a customer ask me about this plant-based queso style dip.
Oh.
But it's not, there's no cheese. It's nutritional yeast is the cheese flavor. But so I gave her my opinion on what it was, but I thought I would run it by you guys to see what you thought it would be equivalent to. She's using it in place of hummus. But so ingredients are cauliflower, red bell pepper, almonds, water, almond butter, apple cider vinegar, red onions, lemon juice, garlic, sea salt, nutritional yeast, chia protein, ground cumin, ground turmeric, and cayenne pepper. It is like 30 grams of it is 45 calories, 3 grams of fat total, 3 grams of carbs, no sugars, 2 protein.
So I feel like I saw this in one of the Portion Fix groups, and I like they were all talking about it still being a blue because you do have a lot of almonds, almond butter, chia seeds.
Yep.
So that's kind of where I feel it still fits in, even though the main ingredient is cauliflower.
Yes.
But
that was what I said too, but I was like, you know what? I'll just ask. She said, like, this is just not, 7 o'clock is a rough time for a lot of us here in the central region because it's when everybody, it's when we're eating. Like I feel like I'm always cooking dinner and I'm like, so like, oh, I'm over here cooking and listening. But yeah, she asked me if I could look at this. I'm like, well, give me all the information, and that's what I came up with. And I'm like, but I'll ask them too.
Yeah.
All
But
right.
it's like a good option. It's got good ingredients.
Yeah, I'm like, that's really good. And I mean, if you have issues with beans, which a lot of people do have issues with beans and they don't realize it, I mean, it's a really good sub.
Yeah, definitely.
Where did she get it?
I don't know.
What is it?
Probably Walmart. I'm gonna say probably Walmart because she lives out towards me, and that's where most people shop.
Okay. What's it called?
I think I just saw it at Walmart, actually.
It is. I'll show you a picture. Oh,
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Seen that.
yeah.
All right, you guys. Well, it's already after 6.
Well,
And
it's after 9.
I know I gotta go cook some shrimp and cheesy grits tonight.
Oh gosh,
Okay.
yeah, those are
Cauliflower grits.
so good.
I know, I love it. It's my favorite recipe.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you, Dina.
Yeah, and if there's any questions for next week, throw it in the group. And yeah, obviously we didn't even get to labels really today, so we can keep the conversation rolling next week. If you think of something else you want to talk on this topic, I think it's it's something we can continue to talk about because it's really based off how things are going for you and what you want to do.
Oh, and really quick PSA about the book you were just talking about, Roar, the audiobook. If you have a library card and you use the Hoopla app, it's on Hoopla as an audiobook for you to listen to for free. Because I was just looking it up. I was like, I really want to listen to that. So it
Yeah.
is on Hoopla for my library friends.
Okay. I need to learn how to use that stuff. I just have Audible and I'm like, click, bye.
Yeah, me too.
I can't do it. I won't pay attention if it's like in my ear. I'll be doing something else.
Well, that's good that you can read because I just can't. Everything's a
I'm the
screw for me
opposite.
with the book.
I'm definitely the opposite. I tend to find something else to do because I can't stay focused. Even though I have the book in hand, I do better with listening. So
Exactly. All right. Well, good, you guys. All right. Well, everybody listen to Roar. We can talk about that next week. All right. We'll see you
Dina.
later.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye-bye. We missed, you want to take a picture?
Oh, I forgot. It's okay.
I have one.
Oh, good. Send it over,
message you.
Lily. All right.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Bye.